Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Rosa Parks mock trial. I am Rachel Alper, the bailiff and court clerk in this courtroom. Please turn off all cell phones and pagers. If I hear a phone going off, I will confiscate it. You are free to take pictures, but please do not use distracting flashes. Once the trial starts, the judge will not tolerate any talking or outbursts of emotion. I don't want to have to kick anyone out of this courtroom. Thank you. Before we begin, I would like to introduce Ty Alper to say a few words.
Hi, everybody. I am going to say a few words. Thanks, everybody, for being here. We have a few people, I think, who are still coming in. I want to just quickly introduce a few people, say a word about what you're about to see, and then we'll get going. So I want to first thank and introduce the 5th grade Rosa Parks teachers who are here in the audience. So can you, the three of you, please stand up so we can see you and recognize you? They have very generously given us their students and their rooms over the past 2 semesters, and we're very grateful for everything they do. I also want to introduce and thank our principal, Paco Furlan. Principal Furlan has been incredibly supportive of this program for the past 4 years, and we're very grateful for his support. I want to introduce my fellow coaches, James, Joy, Kate, and Rachel. Tacey Prinz Woodleaf. Tacey, for the past, I think, 3 years, right? For the past 3 years, Tacey has taken the lead in writing the case that you're about to see, coming up with the facts and the story that you're about to see. We've had 4 different trials all 4 years. And as the program says, Tacey is our lead creative consultant. So we're grateful to Tacey. Finally, I want to introduce someone I hope you all know, Roxanne Reyes. Roxanne, what you're about to see could easily have been produced and could have happened without any one of us, of the coaches. It absolutely could not have happened without Roxanne, and it couldn't have happened over the last 4 years without Roxanne. So I don't know quite how it's going to happen in the future without Roxanne, but she has coordinated pretty much every aspect of this trial, and we are so grateful for everything she does for this program and for Rosa Parks. So thank you, Roxanne. Okay, so a couple of things just quickly about what you're going to see. So this is a mock trial. It's not a play. We didn't write the script for the students. We came up with fact scenarios for them, and then they drafted their opening statements, their closing arguments, their witness examinations. The witnesses have come up with what they're going to say. The lawyers who are cross-examining witnesses have never cross-examined those witnesses before tonight. This is the first time they will cross-examine the student playing the witness, just like in a real trial. So it's not a scripted play, and I wanted to make sure you knew that. As far as the rules, and in the mock trial itself, in the practice sessions, we use courtroom rules, which the judge will explain, but basically it means being absolutely quiet the entire time. Part of that is because that's the way courtrooms operate, and part of that is because the mics are very sensitive, so and only one mic works at a time, so in order for us to be able to hear everybody else needs to be quiet the entire time. And that means no applauding either. There'll be an opportunity at the end to applaud for our students, but not during the trial. So you just have to sit on your hands. And there's a video, the camera is recording us, so we will make the video available afterwards, so you don't need to videotape either, but you're welcome to take pictures if you can. Okay, that's it. Thank you. Enjoy. I said no applauding. That was a test. You all failed.
Thank you.
All rise. The Honorable Demetrius Agratellis, Alameda County Superior Court, presiding.
You may be seated. The clerk will call the first case, please.
Now calling case number 15CR3419, People versus Jack McLeod.
Ms. Albert, please bring in the defendant. Ms. Metz, are you ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Lawrence, are you ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Albert, please bring in the jury. Thank you, members of the jury. The defendant in this case is Jack McLeod. He's accused of committing the crime of arson. You are here to decide if Mr. McLeod is guilty or not guilty. A defendant in a criminal case is presumed to be innocent. Just because he is sitting here before you does not mean that he is guilty. The prosecution must prove that Jack McLeod is guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Proof beyond a reasonable doubt is proof that leaves you very sure that the allegation is true. The evidence the prosecution presents does not have to get rid of all possible doubt, because everything in life is open to some possible or imaginary doubt. It's up to you as jurors to decide which witnesses to believe. In deciding whether the testimony is true, use your common sense and experience. Consider the testimony of each witness and decide how much of it you believe. Among the factors you may consider are: how well could the witness see or hear the things about which the witness testified? How well was the witness able to remember and describe what happened? Was the witness's testimony influenced by a personal relationship with someone involved in the case? The defendant, Mr. McLeod, is charged with 1 count of felony arson in violation of Section 451 of the California Penal Code. To prove that the defendant is guilty of this crime, the prosecution must prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant, Jack McLeod, purposefully set forth fire to the personal property of another person. After you hear all of the testimony and arguments in the case, you will talk amongst yourselves, which is called deliberating. You will then vote to decide whether you think Mr. McLeod is guilty or not guilty. Your decision, which is called a verdict, must be unanimous. That means all 12 of you will need to agree that Mr. McLeod is either guilty or not guilty. If all 12 of you do not agree, that is called a hung jury. But I am hopeful that you will be able to reach a unanimous decision. Before we begin, I would like to ask all members of the jury to make sure you do not speak, laugh, or make any noise during the trial. Please turn off your cell phones and refrain from looking at them during the trial. We want everyone to be able to concentrate on the lawyers and witnesses who are conducting the trial. Members of the audience, please do not applaud during the trial. Thank you for your cooperation. Let's proceed with the opening statements. Mr. Cintron, is the prosecution ready to proceed with its opening statements?
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, the prosecution will prove that Jack McLeod is guilty of arson. The evidence will show that on October 12, 2015, Jack McLeod set Alejandro Rodriguez's locker on fire. Witness testimony will show that Jack had a motive and a means to do this. The evidence will show that Jack had threatened the victim, Alejandro Rodriguez, and that Jack and the defendant have a long history of conflict. The evidence will show that Alejandro got Jack in trouble at school, and that Jack is still mad about that. Alejandro accused Jack of cheating on a test, and Jack got in trouble. Jack was mad. Jack wanted revenge. The evidence will show that on October 11th, the day before the fire, Jack bought a Snickers bar and a bright red cigarette lighter in a brown bag. Several students saw him, and you will hear from them. The evidence will show that Jack could have used the lighter to start the fire in Alejandro's locker. On the morning of the fire, the evidence will show that Jack was at school at the time of the fire. We know that because Jack's grandma, Ada Ford, will tell you that she dropped him off at 8:20 at the latest, and maybe before. And you will hear from Alejandro that he saw Jack at the school grinning suspiciously after the fire. All of this will prove, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, that Jack McLeod is guilty of arson.
Thank you, Mr. Cintron. Mr. Grant, would the defense like to make an opening statement?
Yes, Your Honor. Good evening. Jack McLeod is definitely not guilty of burning Alejandro Rodriguez's locker. The evidence will show, without any doubt, that Jack did not set fire to Alejandro Rodriguez's locker. Mr. Cintron told you some of what Mrs. Bronner is going to say, but he left out some important things you'll hear her say. Mr. Bronner will also testify that Jack is a responsible kid. He's a good kid. She will tell you that Jack cares a lot about getting into a good college and isn't the kind of kid who would risk doing something that would affect his college application. In fact, the evidence will clearly show that Jack was not near the crime scene at 8:20 a.m. You will hear from Jack's grandmother, Ada Ford, that she dropped him off at school at a later time than the crime occurred. As Mrs. Ford was driving away, she heard the fire alarm go off, just seconds after she dropped Jack off. Ladies and gentlemen, Jack did not set that fire. Mr. Cintron also told you that witness Parker Lockman saw Jack buy a cigarette lighter. But listen carefully to her testimony. Mrs. Lockman only got a glimpse of what Jack was buying that day. And Mrs. Lockman, who by the way is a good friend of Alejandro Rodriguez, did not come forward with her story until after her friend's locker had been set on fire. You will hear from another kid who was at the store that day, Reggie Robinson. The evidence will show that Reggie Robinson was there, and he heard Parker say that it was so annoying that the store owner wouldn't let their friend in the store just because Jack was in there buying a Snickers. Reggie will testify that Parker made no mention of a cigarette lighter when she came out of the store. Also, Reggie saw Jack when he came out of the store and did not see him with a cigarette lighter. You will hear that Alejandro and a few others accused Jack of cheating on a test. You will hear from the principal and the teacher that Jack wasn't cheating after all. Mr. Cintron suggests that Jack was so angry about this that he would set a locker on fire. But you are going to hear that not long after this whole incident, Jack McLeod and Alejandro Rodriguez were joking around together. People have accused Jack of setting the fire, but nobody actually saw Jack set the fire. And you're going to hear that Alejandro has upset some other people because of his recent actions. There are other people who have wanted to pay him back for what he has done. After you've heard all the evidence, my colleague, Miss Lawrence, will come to you and return the only fair verdict in this case, not guilty.
Thank you, Mr. Grant. Prosecution, call your first witness.
The people would like to call Alejandro Rodriguez to the stand.
Raise your right hand. Do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes. Good evening. Please state your first name and spell out your last name for the record.
Alejandro Rodriguez.
What grade are you in?
Alejandro Rodriguez. Rodriguez.
What grade are you in?
I'm a junior.
What school do you go to?
Berkeley High.
Let's direct our attention to October 12th, 2015. What unusual thing do you remember about that day?
My locker was on fire.
What time had you gotten to school?
It was about 8 p.m. a.m.
How do you know it was that time?
The office wasn't open until 8:30.
What had happened when you got to your locker?
It was on fire.
What did you do when you saw your locker on fire?
I ran and pulled the fire alarm.
Where did you go after that?
I went outside.
When you went outside, who did you see?
Jack McLeod and about other 15 students.
Describe your relationship to Jack.
Not very good friends.
What was his expression on the morning of the fire?
He was smiling.
And what had happened in your math class a few weeks before?
I thought he was cheating on a test.
Did you tell anyone you saw Jack cheating?
Yes.
After Jack was punished, did he say anything to you?
Yes, he said, "You'll be sorry you said anything."
Why do you think he said that?
He was, I think, mad at me.
Thank you, no further questions.
Mr. Crocker?
Good evening.
Good evening.
You go to Berkeley High, right?
Yes.
Do you know a Jack McLeod?
Yes.
He's in your grade, right?
Yes.
Not so long ago, you saw him passing notes during a math test, right?
Yes.
And you thought he was cheating, right?
Yes.
So you told Mr. Martinez, right?
Yes.
And Jack got in big trouble.
Yes.
But it turns out that you were wrong, right?
Yes.
He wasn't actually passing notes about the math test, correct?
Yes.
This isn't the only time you accused someone of cheating.
No.
You know a Chris Sproul, right?
Yes.
You accused her of cheating, right?
Yes.
She's pretty mad at you, right?
Yes.
Do you know an Aaron Elliott?
Yes.
You said some mean things to him on Instagram, right?
Yes.
You served detention for that, right?
Yes.
But Mr. Elliott thought you got off easy, right?
Yes.
So there are a number of people that might hold things against you, aren't there?
Yes.
So it is possible that several people at your school could have motives for trying to get back at you, correct?
Yes, but I think it was Jack McLeod.
When you got to school on October 11th, you didn't actually see Jack burn your locker, right?
No.
You just saw your locker on fire, right?
What?
You just saw your locker on fire, right?
Yeah.
So another kid might have done it, right?
Maybe.
Thank you. No further questions.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez. You may step down. People will call the next witness.
We would like the people would like to call Scarlett Bronner to the stand. promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Good evening, Ms. Bronner.
Good evening.
Please state your name and spell your last name for the record.
Scarlett Bronner, Bronner.
What is your job?
I am the principal at Berkeley High.
How do you know Alejandro Rodriguez?
He's a student at Berkeley High.
How do you know Jack McLeod?
He's a student at Berkeley High.
As principal, are you in charge of student discipline at Berkeley High?
Yes.
Was there a time when Alejandro came to you about another student cheating on a test?
Yes.
Was this before or after the fire in his locker?
Before.
What did Alejandro tell you about the cheating incident?
He said that Jack McLeod was cheating on it. He was passing notes on a test.
After Alejandro told you this, what did you do next on that day?
I called Jack McLeod to my office and gave him detention.
Did you mention Alejandro by name?
Yes.
So Jack heard from you that Alejandro accused him of cheating.
Yes.
What did Jack say about cheating on the test?
He said that he wasn't passing. He wasn't cheating on the test
Why did you impose detention?
because he was cheating on the test.
What did his teacher do about the test?
He gave him a 0.
Did anyone else overhear your conversation with Jack?
Yes.
Who?
The janitor.
What did the janitor say to you about Jack's cheating?
He found the notes in the classroom and he saw that Jack McLeod wasn't actually cheating on a test. He was just talking about his friend's cat that died.
After you found out that Jack hadn't in fact cheated, what did you do?
The detention was already on, so Mr. Martinez just gave him his regular score for the test.
What did Jack say to you about being wrongfully accused and punished?
He said, "I can't believe you trust another student but me."
What was his mood when he was talking to you?
He was angry and frustrated.
Thank you. No further questions.
Thank you. Mr. Corbett?
Yes, Your Honor. Good evening.
Good evening.
You told Jack that he should just move on with his life. And
Yes.
pretend. And he said that, I guess you're right.
Yes.
Isn't it true he also said, isn't it true Jack has never been in trouble before?
Yes.
Jack is always worried about things affecting his college applications, right?
Yes.
Would you agree that lighting a locker on fire is not a good way to get into a good college?
No. Wait. Yes.
You said that Jack is a good kid.
Yes.
Jack was angry when he was in your office, right?
Yes.
But he never mentioned Alejandro by name.
No.
He did seem a little angry at you, correct?
Yes.
Isn't it true he could have been angry at you, not Alejandro?
Yes, but I think he was mad at Alejandro.
But it's still possible.
Yes.
Isn't it true Jack never told you he lit the locker on fire?
No.
You didn't see Jack light the locker on fire, right?
No.
Thank you. No further questions.
Thank you. You may step down. People will call the next witness.
The people would like to call Parker Lockman.
Yes.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Please state and spell your last name for the record.
Parker Lockman. Lockman.
How old are you?
I'm 16.
What grade are you in?
I'm a junior at Berkeley High.
Do you know Jack McLeod?
Yes.
How do you know him?
It's in my class.
Do you know Alejandro Rodriguez?
Yes.
How do you know him?
It's my friend.
Do you remember going to the Leader Market on October 11th?
Yes.
Why were you there?
Because I have to buy something.
Who were you with?
A friend.
Who else did you see in the store?
Jack McLeod.
Did you see him buy anything?
Yes.
What did he buy?
Snickers bars and a lighter.
What color was the lighter?
Red.
Did you see him buy any cigarettes?
No.
He wasn't buying any cigarettes, so what do you think he was doing with the lighter?
I don't know, but I think that Jack McLeod used the lighter to send Alejandro Rodriguez lock on fire.
No further questions.
Okay.
Thank you. Ms. Prince Woodley?
Good evening, Miss Lockman.
Good evening.
You were in the store with Jack McLeod, right?
Yes.
You thought you saw what Jack was buying?
Yes.
You were walking by Jack,
Yes.
and you weren't paying much attention, were you?
Kind of.
You only caught a glimpse of what he was buying, correct?
What?
You only caught a glimpse of what he was buying, correct?
Yes.
You didn't really focus on what he was buying at the time, yes?
Yes.
It wasn't until after you heard about what happened with Alejandro's locker that you claimed to remember what he was buying?
Yes.
At the time you were in the store, you had no reason to pay attention to what Jack was buying, correct?
Yes.
Is it possible that the bright red object could have been a pack of gum or another piece of candy?
No. I'm pretty sure that it was a lighter.
It's still possible, right?
No.
You were good friends with Alejandro Rodriguez, correct?
Yes.
You would help him no matter what, right?
Yes.
And you thought it was pretty messed up that his locker got lit on fire?
Yes.
You don't know if Jack set the fire, do you?
No.
You certainly didn't see him set the fire.
Yes.
Thank you. No further questions.
Next witness, please.
Yes, Your Honor. The people rest, Your Honor.
Thank you. Very well, very well. The court will take a short 3-minute recess.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain seated while the court is in recess. But you can talk.
I think I've written something wrong. I thought you were gonna mess up. So I said what? I didn't hear it. It was about when you said at the beginning. I think I messed up. No, and then like tried to message me, so it was like no. Wait, if it's average time, make sure we're not deliberating. If it says it's 7. Yeah, I know. I was gonna ask that. Oh. Arson is lighting something for the purpose.
Go into the bathroom. Yeah.
Okay, because are they back together now? Okay. I think so. Don't worry.
Dude, it was so awesome. I was scared.
No. They're like, oh, well, no.
But if you look at Owen, it's just like, he's like, he was doing stuff.
I know. Yeah, I know. I felt like I was like the biggest person in the grade, and then like I saw sixth graders. Our were a lot bigger than our sisters. Yeah. No, we were like way bigger. Yeah, no, I know. I swear she's like this tall. Yeah, exactly. You're like tall.
Luna and Sol.
They're so small. They were. Luna was like this tall.
I've also done I was just like, no speaker. Hola. Thank you. Who's doing direct on No.
Your eyes are kind of.
Oh my god. I walked.
We were silent for like 10 minutes. I know. I know, we were just like spitting in there. I really like this because I get to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And the reels are like You guys, you were awesome. You were awesome. You guys right around me. So, the only one of you has the best. Well, you're about to. You're about to. No. Yeah, but then it's okay. You Wait, they had a script of it just now. It's been like about 25. They're reading off. Wait, okay, but like, yeah, they wrote it. No. Well, I think they did. Oh, yeah. It's hard work. Yeah, it is hard work. Otherwise, Oh my god, no, it's really confusing because, like, you know, jazz is my It's not like a awesome party.
It is.
Yeah, whenever I hear Jack, I think of Jack, and then whenever I hear all that, you think of, like, the guy, Alex. Yeah, Alex. Oh, God. And so, like, it's, like, really weird, like, something in my head, because, like, that's just what I think of. Yes. And then it's just like, oh,
Yeah, no, you have to be like, I think that's what Alex is right now. If you're gonna be a junior, you have to be. It's been 3 minutes. It's only Who saw you?
All right. Court back in session. The Honorable Demetrius Agratalis presiding.
Does the defense have any witnesses?
Yes, Your Honor. We're gonna bring out Reggie Robinson.
It's the one that's opposite to mine. Do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Please state your first and last name and spell it out for the record.
Reggie, Robinson.
Do you go to school?
Yes.
Where do you go to school?
Berkeley High.
Do you know Parker Lockman?
Yes.
Are you friends with her?
Yes.
On Sunday afternoon, October 11th, where were you?
At the Leader Market.
Why were you there?
We were buying chips.
Was anybody else with you?
Yes.
Who were they?
Parker and Rita.
Did you go into the store?
No.
Why not?
Because
they only let two kids in at a time. This one or that one? They only let two kids in at a time.
How did you feel about that?
Sort of upset.
So who went into the store?
Parker and Rita.
Did Rita come out of the store?
Yes.
What happened after Rita came out of the store?
Rita, I think she said something. Wait, no, Rita just came out of the store.
How long did they wait outside?
5 or 10 minutes.
Did anybody come out of the store before Parker did?
Jack McLeod.
Are you and Jack McLeod friends?
No.
Was Jack eating anything when he came out of the store?
Yes.
What was he eating?
A Snickers bar.
Was he holding a cigarette lighter?
No.
Did you see him with a cigarette lighter?
No.
At some point, did Parker come out of the store?
Yes.
Did he mention anything about Jack when he came out of the store? When she came out of the store?
No. Oh, wait, yeah.
What did she say?
She said it's so annoying that that guy wouldn't let Rita in just because Jack McLeod was in there buying a Snickers bar.
Did she say anything about a cigarette lighter?
No.
Thank you. No further questions.
Thank you. Mr. Kelly?
Yes, Your Honor. Good evening, Mr. Robinson.
Good evening.
You know Jack McLeod.
Yes.
You went to all the same schools growing up.
Yes.
You like Jack McLeod.
No.
Isn't it true that you testified that you saw Jack exit Leader Market?
Yes.
You were in the store when Jack was buying his stuff.
No.
You didn't see what he bought, did you?
No.
You said that Jack left the store with a little bag, right?
Yes.
You didn't look in the bag, did you?
Nope.
You don't have X-ray vision, do you?
Nope.
So you couldn't see through the bag, could you?
Nope.
You never asked Jack what was in the bag.
Nope.
So you don't know what was in the bag.
Nope.
The bag was big enough for a cigarette lighter to fit inside of it.
It was possible.
So there could have been a cigarette lighter in the bag. Thank you. No further questions.
Thank you.
I forgot how to take this.
Next witness, please.
The defense calls Ada Ford.
Raise your right hand. You promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes.
Good evening, Judge. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for serving on this jury. Hello, could you please state your name and spell your last name for the record?
Ada Ford. F-O-R-D.
What is your relationship with Jack McLeod?
He's my grandson.
Do you know Jack well?
Yes.
Do you remember the morning of October 11th, 2015?
Yes.
What did you do that morning?
I drove him to school.
What time did you drop Jack off at school?
8:20.
Are you sure it was 8:20?
I'm pretty sure.
How are you sure it was 8:20?
Because that's the time I usually drop him off, and there was no reason to be early that day.
Do you think Jack is a good kid?
Yes.
Did you hear anything unusual when you were driving away from school?
I heard a fire alarm.
How far is your work from Berkeley High?
About 10 minutes.
Did you see Jack with anything unusual when he was going to school?
No.
Thank you. No further questions.
Next witness, please. I'm sorry. Thank you. Ms. Metz?
Good evening, Mrs. Ford.
Good evening.
You are 83, correct?
Yes.
You, your daughter, and your grandson Jack live in Berkeley?
Yes.
On Monday, October 11th, 2015, you dropped Jack off.
Yes.
It was 8:20.
Yes.
You are sure of this?
I'm pretty sure.
Because that's when you normally drop him off?
Yes.
But just because you normally drop him off at that time doesn't mean you'll always drop him off at that time.
Yes, but I'm pretty sure that I dropped him off at 8:20.
You also didn't look at your watch?
No.
And are you aware, Ms. Ford, of the fact that the prosecution witness, Alejandro Rodriguez, reports he saw Jack outside the school at approximately 10 minutes before he got there at 8 a.m.?
Yes.
So it's very possible that you could have dropped him off before 8:20.
It is possible, but not very possible.
As you were driving away, you heard a fire alarm. But the fire alarm happened after you dropped Jack off?
Just seconds.
So Jack was at the school when the fire alarm went off.
Yes.
In your rearview mirror, you saw people filing out of the school?
Yes.
You figured that it was just a drill.
Yes.
You weren't sure, though?
No.
You think Jack is a great kid?
Yes.
You love him?
Yes.
You care about him?
Yes.
You would hate to see him go to jail?
Mm-hmm.
You would do anything to protect him?
No.
So that he wouldn't go to jail?
No.
Thank you. No further questions.
Thank you. Next witness, please.
The defense calls Diego Martinez.
Raise your right hand. Do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Please state and spell your last name for the record.
Diego Martinez, Martinez.
Do you have a job?
Yes.
What is your job?
I'm a math teacher at Berkeley High.
Do you know a Jack McLeod?
Yes.
How do you know him?
He's in my math class.
Has there been any trouble with him lately?
Yes.
What was the trouble?
Alejandro Rodriguez told me that Jack McLeod was cheating on the test.
What did you do after Alejandro told you Jack was cheating?
I talked with the principal.
What did the principal do?
Gave Jack McLeod detention.
Did you give him a punishment?
Yes.
What was it?
I gave him a 0 on his test.
And did it turn out that he was actually cheating?
No,
How do you know?
because the janitor saw notes about some cat.
Did Jack seem mad at Alejandro?
No,
Why do you say that?
because I saw them talking after the whole coincidence.
Did you apologize to Jack?
Yes.
What was his response?
It's okay.
Was he nice about it?
Yes.
Thank you. No further questions.
Thank you, Ms. Tavera.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Alejandro Rodriguez and Jack McLeod are both in your math class, right?
Yes.
You had given a hard test on October 12th, 2015, right?
Yes.
Alejandro claimed to have seen Jack cheating,
Yes.
and Jack was punished for cheating.
Yes.
He was giving detention,
Yes.
and you gave him a 0 on his test,
Yes.
and he was upset.
Yes. No.
Was he at all upset because he was, in fact, innocent of cheating?
Yes.
You only see Jack and Alejandro in class, right?
Yes.
You don't see them interacting outside of class, correct?
Yes.
You don't know if Jack threatened Alejandro?
No.
And this is because a lot happens and is said outside of class, right?
Yes.
And you were really sorry about Jack being wrongly accused.
Yes.
You feel really guilty, right?
No.
But would you want to do anything and everything to make it up to him?
I already did.
Would you clear his name in a case?
Yes.
Thank you. No further questions.
Thank you. Does the defense have any further witnesses at this time?
No, Your Honor. The defense rests.
Thank you. Very well. Members of the jury, that concludes the evidence in this case. We will take another short recess to allow the lawyers to prepare for closing arguments. The court will stand in recess for 5 minutes.
The court is now in recess for 5 minutes. Please stay in your seats, but you can talk like last time.
No, this is Diego Martinez. Where's Diego Martinez? Diego Martinez and Miss Yeah, take your time. That was so funny. It was so good. I don't know. It was like. Is there anything you want to change now? You could say. Okay, but the phone was like hot diary. Do you guys want to change it? That's fine. Who? I think she would say like I thought she was 15. The girl with the green diaper. Were there any facts about looks like the same hair and glasses. I have no idea what she's talking about. But I'll point it out too.
But I mean, I didn't really say anything about it. But I think it's one of the
If you, okay, you're doing really well. Who are you? I'm a girl. She was like, what'd you do? I did not know I could try and run away. They look at fate. Yes.
Yeah, great job. Adrian, that was really good.
I can tell that question for something.
Rachel, what is this for?
Just for the computers.
Hello.
Alright, so
I'm the shirt.
and then
Hello.
slip that into your skirt. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What? Yeah, and that's what I've been waiting for. I will probably be waiting.
Don't touch it. It's very fragile.
Time to say something loud. Don't mess up. Oh my god, you're just making it worse. You're just making it worse. No pressure. You just keep doing it. Like if you don't get this one. Huh? On? This is my first time wearing this.
Okay, this court is now in session. The Honorable Demetrius Agratellis presiding.
Counsel, are you ready for your closing arguments?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Metz, you may proceed with the closing argument for the prosecution.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the evidence has proven that Jack set Alejandro's locker on fire and is guilty of arson. He did it because he had a motive, he had a cigarette lighter to set the locker on fire, and he was there when the fire started. First, we heard plenty of evidence as to why Jack had the motive to set Alejandro's locker on fire. When Jack found out that Alejandro blamed him for cheating, Jack said, "You'll be sorry you said anything." You've heard the principal, Scarlett Bronner, testify. Scarlett Bronner was the one who told Jack that Alejandro ratted him out. She's also the one who gave Jack a detention and a 0, which made him very mad. Jack told her, "I need to make sure this never happens again." That is more proof that he wants to get revenge on Alejandro. Jack was actually telling the truth about the math test, but the fact that he was falsely accused made him even more mad and wanting revenge. Nobody likes being blamed for something they didn't do, and it takes just that to want to get revenge on someone really badly. The evidence has shown that Jack had a motive to set the locker on fire. You've also heard about Jack buying a cigarette lighter, which allowed him to set Alejandro's locker on fire. You heard from an unbiased witness, Parker Lockman. Parker was actually in the store with Jack when she saw Jack buying a cigarette lighter. It's also important to note that Jack didn't buy any cigarettes. Therefore, setting something on fire is the only use for the lighter he bought. It's quite obvious that Jack used a cigarette lighter to light a locker on fire, not a cigarette. Parker saw this on October 11th, the day before Alejandro's locker was set on fire, and a few weeks after Jack was accused of cheating on a test. You will hear in the defense closing that Reggie Robinson was there at the Leader Market and did not see a lighter. However, defense witness Reggie Robinson did not go into the Leader Market, so he wouldn't know if Jack bought a cigarette lighter. What he did see was a small bag that contained the red cigarette lighter that Parker saw Jack buy. This evidence proves that Jack had the cigarette lighter that he used to set Alejandro's locker on fire. Jack was at the crime scene when Alejandro's locker on fire. Alejandro saw his locker on fire at about 8 a.m. When he sees it, he pulls the fire alarm and everyone inside the building evacuates. When he gets outside, Alejandro sees Jack smiling at him. We know that Jack doesn't like Alejandro after what happened with the test, so why would Jack be smiling at Alejandro if he didn't just set the locker on fire? The defense wants us to believe that Jack wasn't even at the school at that time. You heard the defense say that 804 dropped Jack off at 8:20, so it isn't possible that Jack could have set the locker on fire. However, if you were listening, she wasn't sure what time she actually dropped him off at. And note that as she was driving away, she heard the fire alarm. Therefore, Jack was at the school when Alejandro's locker was on fire. The evidence clearly shows that Jack set the locker on fire. So I ask that you find him guilty. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
Ms. Lawrence, you may proceed with the closing argument for the defense.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. My name is Jada Lawrence, and I am an attorney for Jack McCloud. I'm here to tell you that Jack is not guilty. We know Jack is not guilty because the evidence you heard today. There are 5 reasons why Jack is not guilty. First, no one saw him set the locker on fire. No one testified that Jack set the locker on fire. No one testified that he had the code to Alejandro's locker. Instead, the prosecution tried to say that Jack set the fire because he was outside right after the fire was set. But we know that that's not true. Alejandro testified that the fire started at 8 a.m. and he immediately ran outside. But Jack's grandmother, Ada Ford, told you that Jack didn't arrive until 8:20 that morning. So if Alejandro says the fire started at 8 a.m., then Jack wasn't even at school when the fire was set. Second, Jack had no motive to set the fire. When Alejandro thought that Jack was cheating on the test, he got in trouble, but it turns out that he wasn't cheating on the test. So the teacher changed his score back. And their math teacher, Diego Martinez, told you that Jack never said anything threatening to Alejandro, and that Jack had dropped it. Even Miss Bronner, the principal, said that Jack had moved on. Both Miss Bronner and Mr. Martinez told you that Jack was a good kid, and he had never been in trouble. So it doesn't make sense for him to ruin everything and set a fire. Third, we heard that Alejandro has enemies that are not Jack. Alejandro regularly reports other kids to the teachers. Jack was not the only one. Alejandro told you that 2 other kids are still mad at him, unlike Jack, who dropped it all. Fourth, the prosecution says that Parker Lockman saw Jack buy a lighter. Parker told you she's a good friends with Alejandro, which means she wants Alejandro to win, and she might even lie for him. We know Parker's not telling the truth because Parker didn't really see if it was a lighter. Jack was carrying a paper bag and she couldn't see through it. She just guessed. Finally, we heard from Parker's friend, Reggie. Reggie said that Parker didn't mention a lighter. If a high school kid were buying a lighter, you would probably say something about it, especially to the friend whose locker was on fire. But she never did. She never told Alejandro, and she never told her teachers. Reggie also told you he didn't see Jack with a lighter. Now that you've heard all the evidence, you know that the only verdict that matches the evidence is that Jack is not guilty. Thank you.
Thank you. Members of the jury, you must now decide if Jack McCloud is guilty or not guilty of arson. To prove that the defendant is guilty of this crime, the prosecution must prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant, Jack McCloud, purposefully set fire to the personal property of another person. As I told you before, proof beyond a reasonable doubt is proof that leaves you very sure that the charge is true. The evidence does not have to eliminate all possible doubt because everything in life is open to some possible or imaginary doubt. Unless the evidence proves the defendant guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, you must find him not guilty. Your decision must be unanimous. That means all 12 of you will need to agree that Mr. McLeod is either guilty or not guilty. If all 12 of you do not agree, that is called a hung jury. But I am hopeful that you will be able to reach a unanimous decision. I understand that Ms. Farris is the foreperson of the jury. Ms. Farris will lead you in a discussion of the evidence, making sure that each person gets to state his or her opinion. Please keep an open mind as your fellow jurors speak. When you are done deliberating, please take a vote to determine whether Mr. McLeod is guilty or not guilty. You may now deliberate, and this court will stand in recess.
The jury will now deliberate in the jury box for no more than 10 minutes. You are welcome to go out into the lobby, but court will reconvene in no more than 10 minutes.
Not going anywhere. It's just a light.
Nice job, guys.
You guys were really good. Really good. I love that Maddie decided not to. Very good.
Hello. Hello, hello.
I also thought it was
That was my favorite. The judge actually had to yeah, I didn't. Because I would have seen like
Well, tell him.
yeah, is that like something like not to notice? You can't get out of outside.
No, just.
And also a bunch of other people. A bunch of other people. We're not sure. Yeah, a lot of people didn't. Yeah.
Also, I mean, they said that like. Also, they said like if you saw junior violent, they would say something like tell the teacher. It's like if you saw someone already violator, no one would say anything.
It's like that's weird. We're not explaining.
My script and I just kind of up to 11. Is that a typo? Okay, good. My dad thought I was.
Oh.
No, but it says. I just find that 11 is That's what I thought my dad was.
Yeah, I like it.
That was your job.
So you're not Thanks for Maddie. But it's great. You want to make that very important. Doing arguments.
There was a community law.
A grandma. How time bleeds really cute. Find out how to fire a lighter if you live in a town. Yeah. If there's no time there, she probably didn't know what was You know, I don't think there's reasonable doubt in any.
It's been 10 minutes. I don't know. Actually, they started at 7:36. It's been 8 minutes.
You can't hear Miss Morris.
We lost her.
Look out. What do you decide? Come on.
I failed that.
If I do, I just put a band-aid on before it starts to bleed.
No. They're still deliberating.
No, hey, it doesn't come out that way.
So well.
Oh, yeah,
No, but it's all about if the prosecution proves it. It doesn't matter what the defense did. He's guilty. No, but it can be doubt.
Yeah.
A cousin? What? Beyond reasonable doubt. But like you can even have a little bit of doubt.
We're going to resume in 3 minutes. 3 minutes.
You didn't mean to tell them?
If they call you guilty, just run out that door right there. So stupid, like,
But I mean,
she's driving. Like you said, you should that
let's vote. Beyond reasonable doubt. I win. He's good. Let's vote again.
Am I?
We're not crying about the grandma. Enough about the grandma. Well, now we know Hungarians.
Your seats.
Please take your seat.
Oh, this court is now in session.
Will the defendant please rise? Ms. Farris, has the jury reached a unanimous verdict of guilty or not guilty?
No, Your Honor.
In that event, what was the jury's vote?
Your Honor, the jury's vote was 2 to 10, 2 voting guilty and 10 voting not guilty.
Thank you. Members of the jury, thank you for your service, and thank you to all the lawyers as well. This concludes the case of the People versus Jack McLeod.
Oh, sorry.
Well, family members, parents, and members of and friends of the participants here, I've tried a lot of cases as a judge over the years, but this is as good as it gets. If these young people represent the future leaders of our community is going to be in good hands. I would like to have the attorneys for the prosecution please stand and face the audience. And the attorneys for the defense as well. Their names are all listed on the program that you have. The witnesses are still here. The witnesses will please stand as well. Thank you. I would like to especially thank the person who kept law and order in this courtroom, Rachel Alper, the bailiff and the court clerk. And if she took away any of your phones, she'll give them back to you. Finally, a special thanks to the coaches who did such a terrific job putting this program together. Rachel Alper, Ty Alper, Joy Haviland, James Stevens, and Kate Weisberg. Could we now have a big hand for everybody who participated? Oh, and I omitted somebody. The mock trial coordinator, Roxanne Reyes.
Ladies and gentlemen, you guys can sit down. This court stands in recess. Please proceed to the lobby outside the courtroom and upstairs for a reception. Thank you.